What a way to welcome you one and all to this, the 68th International Astronautical Congress. My name's Adam Spencer. It's a thrill to be your MC for this morning's welcome. I want to welcome you all to Adelaide, in particular to the land of the Kaurna people. I want to acknowledge elders past and present, pay particular respects to any First Australians who are with us today, and point out that the culture, the learnings, the teachings of the Kaurna people are as relevant to them today as they've been for thousands of years. And over the next few days, as we think about the present, as we look to the future, as we consider the past of this planet and of our universe, it's worth acknowledging that the Kaurna people and other Indigenous Australians have been thinking about those sort of things on this land for tens of thousands of years. So a sincere thanks to Carl Telfer and Yellika for that welcome to country. Please, a round of applause. What a beautiful way to kick off the morning. Now, it won't surprise you to know at an event as prestigious as this, we have quite an impressive list of VIPs with us today. So what I'm going to do, because I would hate to omit anyone or make a slight mispronunciation in some of the quite complex titles that people have and offend anyone, I am going to read our VIPs from this list here. But as I do, there is one other thing I note. For an event of this magnitude, with a VIP list of this extensiveness, it's quite possible for you guys to encounter, as I go through the VIPs, what I call AAF, or Audience Applause Fatigue. You know how that works. I'll say the name of the first VIP, in this case the Premier of South Australia. You will understandably go absolutely wild. I will then say the name of our second VIP, and you will go about 90% of absolutely wild, and the amount of applause will slowly drop, and by about our 11th VIP it's a little bit tepid, and then I've got to say, come on, you can do better than that, and that's all a bit awkward. So what we're going to do is, as I read this list of VIPs, I ask you to sit there in stunned silence at the magnitude of the special guests we have with us, and once I get to the end of the list, I'll flick the switch and you can go completely bonkers, okay? So, it is my pleasure to welcome to our opening ceremony the Premier of South Australia, the Honourable Jay Weatherill MP. Senator the Honourable Simon Birmingham's here, the Minister for Education and Training. We're joined by the Right Honourable the Lord Mayor of Adelaide, Martin Hazy. The President of the International Astronautical Federation, Dr. Jean-Yves Le Gall, is here, as is the President of the International Academy of Astronautics, Professor Peter Jankovic. The President of the International Institute of Space Law, Dr. Kai-Uwe Schrogel. The Chair of the Space Industry Association of Australia, Mr. Michael Davis. Lisa Callaghan is here from Lockheed Martin. We have various ministers, senators and members of the Parliament of Australia, various ministers and elected representatives from the Parliament of South Australia, members of parliaments of many nations, as well as ambassadors, high commissioners, consuls general and other representatives of foreign governments in Australia, heads of multiple space agencies and industries, and a great bulk of young talented students as well. So please, a big round of applause for almost all of our VIPs I mentioned just there. Come on, yeah. Woo-hoo. You will note that I did say there a round of applause for almost all of our VIPs. I've broken my own rule there and I've left a couple of people off the list who I want to get to individually. It's great, I think most fitting than in this acknowledgement of the beauty of space. We've got a couple of Aussie space superstars with us today. The first one, a gentleman who, along with his colleagues, proved that the universe is not just expanding, it's going to keep expanding forever. Driven apart by some incredible dark energy. It was enough to win him the 2011 Nobel Prize for Physics. Brian Schmidt's here. Please give Nobel laureate Brian Schmidt a big round of applause. And normally that would be enough to say, ha, we've got a Nobel laureate here, but no, not at this International Astronautical Congress. We're also joined by a man who, between 1996 and 2005, went into space not once, twice, 3 or 4 times. The first ever Australian-born astronaut, South Australia's own Dr. Andy Thomas is here. Just over here, give Andy a big round of applause. Where is he? Yeah? Good to see you, mate. I'm going to play right here. Good to see you. Flip that around. Right. And I'll do one back this way with the crowd behind us as well, mate. There we go. Give Andy Thomas a big round of applause, ladies and gentlemen, Australia's own. Now I'm taking that selfie right now and I am going to post that under the hashtag IAC2017. That's our hashtag for the next few days. Any photos you take, any quotable quotes, any amazing lectures, any gems of wisdom you pick up, keep the conversation going at hashtag IAC2017. We don't care what your social media of choice is, Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat, Tinder, we don't care. Just get the message out there. If you're laughing, that's a reflection on you. Keep that conversation going at IAC2017. But it's not surprising, that incredible reaction we just got from Brian and Andy, because this concept of space and where we fit in it is just such an innately human question. That's why I'm so excited to be here today as a curious mind, as a lover of science, and as a proud Australian, because with our large continent and relatively small population, Australia has a proud tradition of using space to solve problems and benefit our nation and indeed the entire world. We have, for example, the historic Woomera Test Range, 70 years old this year, world-class infrastructure such as deep space tracking stations, vibrant space science and technology communities that are linked to a broad base of users and international partners. We're one of the hosts of the Square Kilometre Array, a global next-generation radio telescope project involving institutions from over 20 countries, truly one of the great devices humanity has ever constructed. Australia's expertise and capabilities are diverse and they are growing. They include, for example, designing and building sophisticated satellite sensors, platforms and missions, ambitious small satellite projects, hypersonics and other advanced forms of propulsion research, satellite data processing and applications, space tracking and situational awareness, world-leading astronomy, planetary science, cosmology, astrobiology, international space education programs. And we also have a burgeoning group of young space entrepreneurs eager to parlay the opportunities of the new space revolution into exciting new services and technologies. And so this week, rightly, the world's attention will be focused on Australian space. This Congress is a celebration of Australia's achievements, but also showing that there is much more for Australia and all of us to aim for. Well, Australia is certainly ready to play our part in the world's space future, and to do so with confidence. And this state, South Australia, has in particular made it clear it wants to be part of that future. So to welcome us all, on behalf of the South Australian Government, please, a big round of applause for the Premier of South Australia, the Honourable Jay Weatherill MP.
Well, Monsieur President, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. 50 years ago, we fired a satellite that placed Australia in a link company, being just the third nation put a satellite into orbit from its own territory. In the 1990s, a South Australian named Andy Thomas took to space as an esteemed NASA engineer and astronaut. And today, in this magnificent venue, my state once again takes centre stage and showcases what it has to offer the world in the virtually boundless field of space. South Australia is a place synonymous with innovation and discovery, a place renowned for its consistent ability to remake itself and to explore new horizons. This is evident by the fact that Adelaide has nurtured or been home to 5 Nobel Prize winners. It's obvious in the calibre of the space-related products and services that you're about to see as you walk around the exhibition hall, seeing some magnificent local companies exhibiting here this week. We see it too with the work in emerging industries like driverless cars. It's reflected in our technical capability that saw us win a massive contract to build, in partnership with France, a fleet of submarines for our Navy. It's a spirit that's imbued in the world-leading biomedical precinct right next door to us in North Terrace with energy and vision. And it's manifested in the international standing we enjoy today in advances in renewable technology and battery storage. This work is allowing us to turn our parched outback into amazing fruit and vegetable farms through the use of solar thermal technology. It's also attracting high-profile investors like Elon Musk, who'll be addressing this Congress and who's partnering with us to build the world's biggest lithium-ion battery. This week, through our hosting of a Congress and our establishment of Australia's first space industry hub, we're sending a clear and bold message. We're sending a message to the Australian government that once again we're ready to put ourselves at the service of this nation by becoming a key part of a national space agency. We're also sending a clear message to the world that we want to work with you, as our state logo suggests, as an open door to opportunity. South Australia has a proud tradition. It has become a test bed for new ideas. Coming to this state, you'll find a state with a thirst for knowledge. You'll also find a state with a thirst for fine wine. And we have about 200 cellar doors within an hour's drive of where you are at the moment. So during the course of this week, as you move around our beautiful city and state, we hope you have the opportunity to enjoy all the beautiful things that we have on offer here. Ladies and gentlemen, 8 years ago, a man called Michael Davis from our local Space Industries Association came to see me when I was Minister for Education with what seemed like a pretty crazy idea at that time about attracting the world's Astronautical Congress to come here to Adelaide to hold its 68th Congress. He asked for a little underwriting. Thankfully, looking at you all, that won't be necessary today. And we're here now. We're here now, and I couldn't be prouder of our state. I couldn't be prouder of what we have to offer you. And as we join together in this quest to explore space, to explore its opportunities, to explore its wonders, I hope that this week is rewarding in every possible way for you. So welcome to our beautiful city and state, and I hope you have a magnificent Congress. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Premier. All that and the Crows into the grand final has been a big week for Adelaide. And from one former Education Minister now to the Federal Minister for Education and Training, please a round of applause for Senator, the Honourable Simon Birmingham.
Thank you very much, Adam. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, it is my absolute pleasure to be here for the opening of the 68th International Astronautical Congress, and I do so bringing best wishes from the Prime Minister of Australia, Malcolm Turnbull, who extends to each and every one of you from overseas a warm welcome to Australia and to all every success during the deliberations of this Congress. Last year, one day I had the chance of taking my then 5-year-old daughter to school. And on the way to school, Matilda said to me, "Daddy, after school today, can we go to the moon?" I said, "Oh, well, Matilda, it's not that easy to get to the moon." She said, "Yes, Daddy, but after school today, can we go to the moon?" I said, "Well, you need a rocket ship or something to be able to get to the moon." She said, "Well, Daddy, after school today, can we go and get a rocket ship and go to the moon?" So, well, rocket ships aren't very easy and they're to find. You know, I don't know that we can find one easily in Adelaide, and they're very, very expensive, and I'm not sure that Mummy and Daddy can afford a rocket ship. And she said, "Well, Daddy, you'll just have to work harder." Now, Matilda, it's delighted to see she has a sense of appreciation of a strong work ethic, albeit Mummy or Daddy's work ethic. But of course also it's a wonderful sense of, yes, innocence, but also that sense of curiosity, of exploration, of wonder that has driven people all over the world in their curiosity, in their interest, in their exploration of all it is that space has to offer. Australia, as you heard from the Premier, has a long and successful history in the space industry, as well as a strong reputation as a trusted partner in the international space community. As a South Australian Senator, as well as a Federal Minister, I am thrilled that South Australia and our capital city Adelaide have been integral to this history. We've heard and celebrated of Andy Thomas. We've heard and celebrated from the Premier that this year marks the 50th anniversary of the launch of Australia's first satellite, which was designed and built here in Adelaide and launched at Woomera in South Australia's outback in 1967. The event made Australia the third country in the world to build and launch its own satellite. We did so working closely with the United States and the United Kingdom, demonstrating the value, the importance of international engagement in strengthening scientific research, in managing to reach out to space. The IAC, with its rich history of bringing together leaders in space from across the globe, continues this tradition. Space is too large, too complex, too important for any one country to seek to navigate it alone, and this Congress presents yet another outstanding opportunity to share insights into the future of the global space industry. I've looked at the outstanding program the IAF has put together. It gives a sense of the incredible impact of space-derived industries on so many facets of our life and well-being, and of course of the continual expansion of the space industry itself. As Australia's Education Minister, I'm also particularly thrilled to see the education program for school students associated with this Congress, knowing that that can help to further inspire students to pursue careers in science, technology, engineering, mathematics, an important endeavour that Australia takes incredibly seriously. Over the next few days, you will showcase many new technologies that can create and expand the broad reach of the space industry. Among the high-profile exhibitors, the Australian Government is proud that our CSIRO have booths in the exhibition hall, where you can see just some of Australia's contribution to the space sector, like the Square Kilometre Array, Digital Earth Australia, and simultaneous localisation and mapping, better known as SLAM technology. We have a proud history to build upon, not to mention research institutions and businesses filled with some of the leading minds and researchers. Australia recognises the benefits of a strong space industry, which is why our government, under the leadership of the Minister for Industry, Innovation and Science, Arthur Sinodinos, announced a review into Australia's space industry capability. We wanted to ensure we were harnessing the full potential in this sector. That review, which is well advanced, is being undertaken by an expert reference group chaired by former Chief of the CSIRO, Dr. Megan Clark. Almost 200 written submissions have been received, 400 people consulted, enormous engagement right across our country. An important issue the review was asked to look at was whether Australia should have a national space agency. And while there is more work to be done in this review, from the extensive consultation process to date, one point is overwhelmingly clear. The case for establishing an Australian space agency is compelling. And so I am pleased today to announce that the Australian Government will be establishing a national Australian space agency. This agency will be the anchor for our domestic coordination and the front door for our international engagement with so many of you across the world's space industries. And I am confident that with our unique geography, South Australia will naturally be at the forefront of an increased Australian engagement in space industries. Senator Michaelia Cash, the Acting Minister for Industry, Innovation and Science, will outline further details of this tomorrow. But for now, I commend the work of Dr. Clark and her expert reference group. Look forward to their recommendations to build the long-term national strategy that will design and underpin this new agency, and encourage all of you, particularly the Australian delegates, to engage with Dr. Clark on ensuring its absolute success. Australia is a proud country. We are proud of our scientists, our researchers, our Nobel laureates. We're proud of our contribution to global knowledge and science. We are proud of our role as a responsible international citizen, promoting global cooperation in the interests of peoples throughout the world. And we are immensely proud to welcome you to the 68th International Astronautical Congress. Thank you very much.
Well, how's that for an announcement? Thank you so much. Of course, he is the Minister, he is the Senator as well, but I think this week he's best known as the father of future astronaut Matilda Birmingham. Please, another round of applause, please, for Simon Birmingham. Thank you so much, Minister. What a fantastic announcement. So I'm going to announce for you right now here, I'm officially launching my campaign to rename Adelaide NAS Adelaide. Might take a bit of work. Who better to throw to now? He did not know about that, and I don't expect to comment on the NAS Adelaide issue. From the Right Honourable, the Lord Mayor of Adelaide. Please, a big round of applause for Martin Hasey.
Well, I must say thank you, Nas Adam. We acknowledge that we are meeting on the traditional country of the Kaurna people of the Adelaide Plains, and we pay respect to elders past and elders present. I acknowledge our Premier, the Honourable Jay Weatherill MP. I acknowledge Senator Simon Birmingham. Senator, thank you on behalf of South Australia for such a magnificent announcement. Thank you. I welcome state MPs, ministers, state MLCs. I welcome federal senators, federal MPs, federal ministers. I also acknowledge and welcome Andrew Barr, LMA, Chief Minister of the Australian Capital Territory, Michael Gunner, MLA, Chief Minister of the Northern Territory, Monsieur Jean-Yves Le Gall, President IAF. Bonjour, bienvenue à Adelaide. I welcome Mr. Christian Feitinger, Executive Director of the IAF, heads of space industry, international ambassadors and consuls, distinguished guests, those travelling from interstate and overseas, a very warm welcome to you. Welcome to the fifth most livable planet. I should say city. Welcome to the fifth most livable city on planet Earth, Adelaide, something we take great pride on because our livability indeed is our strength. So on behalf of the City of Adelaide, my fellow elected members, it is our great honour indeed to host this extraordinary important and transformational Congress right here on North Terrace in the heart of the City of Adelaide. And welcome to this space, the Adelaide Convention Centre, the newly opened east wing of this truly transformational facility, which is changing the way that the world looks at conferencing and learning in the City of Adelaide. This conference is the largest of its kind ever held in South Australia, and we have representatives from all parts of the globe who have joined us. And we thank the organising committee, Brett Biddington, CEO, IAC 2017, and the extraordinary hard-working team who for years have invested their time, their creativity, their energy into bringing this together for us. Thank you very much to your team. Thank you also. That deserves a round of applause. Thank you also to the many commercial, industry and government partners, the sponsors that have made this also possible. Adelaide, ladies and gentlemen, prides itself on being a city of firsts, an innovative city, a learning city, an agile city, but most importantly, a collaborative city. A city that welcomes new ideas, a city that likes to stretch the boundaries, to take things to the next level, but a city also that not only collaborates well, but as I know you will find out over coming days, a truly welcoming city, a friendly city, a very welcoming group of people who welcome you to be here to enjoy everything that our magnificent city has to offer. This Congress provides us with an opportunity to showcase everything that Adelaide is known for: food, wine, multiculturalism, the arts, innovation, entrepreneurship, sense of community, and so much more. We welcome you. We welcome your learning. We welcome your time, your creativity, your expertise. Enjoy the City of Adelaide. Thank you and enjoy.
Thank you so much, Lord Mayor, and please keep that applause going for the President of the IAF, Jean-Yves Le Gall.
Premier Varil, Excellencies, honourable guests, dear colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of the International Astronautical Federation, I am more than delighted to welcome you to Adelaide for this 68th International Astronautical Congress, the IAC 2017. Our Congress is finally returning to Australia, the land down under, after nearly 20 years. The 49th IAC took in fact place in Melbourne in 1998. I was there almost 20 years ago. And it is a tremendous pleasure for the Federation to be back in this country that offers a fantastic combination of beautiful landscapes, picturesque nature, friendly people, rich Aboriginal traditions, but also cutting-edge innovation in technology and great focus on STEM education. The beautiful city of Adelaide, also known as the City of Churches, has welcomed us with open arms, and it is an honor that this IAC will officially inaugurate the new wing of the stunning Adelaide Convention Centre. The list of people that contributed to the creation of this IAC is long, and I will unfortunately not be able to thank you all personally, but let me nonetheless take a few minutes to recognize some of you. I would like to start by extending my sincere appreciation to the local organizing committee led by Michael Davis, Brad Biddington, and the Space Industry Association for Australia for their unwavering support and firm commitment in making this IAC an unforgettable event. Special thanks also go to all the members of the International Programme Committee, led by Naomi Mathers and Christian Schmulius in a very most professional way. The outstanding plenary and technical programme of the next days is a result of many months of hard work on their side. The Federation also appreciates the support of all the sponsors who recognize the value of this event and decided to contribute in many different ways. Last but not least, let me thank the IAF Secretariat and all the IAF volunteers who worked on the preparation of this Congress. Your work is invaluable to us. And of course, thanks to all of you who are here today. I know many of you traveled thousands of miles to attend this Congress, and we hope that by the end of the week, you will confirm that this IAC was worth the effort. This year, we decided for the theme of the Congress to choose unlocking imagination, fostering innovation, and strengthening security. It is, of course, very ambitious, and this Congress will focus on, but it is also a very timely one. It is an exciting time to be in the space business with a shift of paradigm from the traditional, almost exclusively government-funded and driven space programs to the emergence of new models of advanced space entrepreneurship, opening up golden opportunities for all stakeholders. It is the imagination and inspiration of this new generation of space actors that will fuel future progress of humankind in space. It is a spirit of innovation that will drive technology development and secure a sustainable space program for the benefit of mankind on Earth, essentially contributing to solving critical earthly problems like climate change, of course, disaster prevention, and specifically security. At EIF, we are committed to work together with all stakeholders, facilitating partnerships and connecting all space people with the aim to unlock imagination, foster innovation, and strengthen security. And in order to be successful, we shall use all the opportunities offered by the IAC here in Adelaide, in this innovative city full of startups and filled by an entrepreneur spirit. I was pleased to hear an evolution in the governance of Australian space capabilities and the creation of a national space agency. This confirms the high priority that the Australian government places in space activities. In fact, Australia is, like all global economies, strongly dependent on the space technologies that affect the daily lives of its inhabitants and businesses. Navigation, Earth observation, as well as satellite communication are only some examples. To reconfirm Australia's commitment to space, just last week, Premier Waziril presented a new initiative by the South Australia government, the South Australia Space Industry Centre. This centre will aim to drive space industry innovation, research and entrepreneurial development, and will support South Australia emerging space industry by providing grant funding to space entrepreneurs along with new and existing space startups. I certainly hope to see an ever stronger involvement of Australia industries on the international space scene, and I have confidence that the IAC will play an important role in making this happen. In space, looking to the future is imperative. That's why, when I took over the presidency of the IAF last year, I decided to create an IAF Global Innovation Agenda 2016-2019 to guarantee the sustainable development of the Federation and to ready it for the global challenges ahead. Now, in implementing this agenda, I am focusing on various concrete priority actions and fostering the principle of 3G diversity within the Federation, and the space sector is one of the highest priorities. 3G stands for geography, gender, generation, and these are three important pillars for the advancement of the Federation. To all of you young in the audience, seize the moment because it is an exciting time to be in the space sector, and the future you have always imagined is there in front of you. And it is full of possibilities. It will be the future you will decide to build, and we at the IAF and IAC are here merely to help you realize your vision. Please take advantage of the great network of experienced space professionals the Congress can offer. It is clear that the IAC is an outstanding success story. It reminds us of the great things that can be accomplished when we work together, not as a city, not as a nation, but as one world, with one common goal: promoting the advancement of space technologies, exploration and applications for the benefit of all humankind. Speaking of global cooperation and the need for common goals, I am pleased to announce that the IAF, the International Academy of Astronautics, and the International Institute of Space Law are entering into a strategic partnership by signing today, here in Adelaide, a memorandum of understanding that highlights synergies between our three organizations and is intended to lay the groundwork for enhanced cooperation. So, please let me welcome on stage my dear colleagues, Professor Peter Jankovic, President of the International Academy of Astronautics, and Kaiou Strogel, President of the International Institute of Space Law, to sign this agreement. So, dear Peter, dear Kaiowei, thank you. The long-standing partnership between our organizations has been the solid foundation of so many successful IACs, and I am sure that the agreements we have just signed will fuel the sustainable development and continuation of our IAC success story. I hope our partnership will also serve as an example for all our colleagues here in the space community to meet, exchange, and connect over the course of the next week. I sincerely hope you will enjoy the exciting program ahead of us this week, and we will benefit from productive meetings. Let me close by wishing all of you an outstanding experience at this 68th International Astronautical Congress here in Adelaide, Australia. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. President. I'll get you to wait on stage for a second because we now have a moment that's one of the highlights of the Congress, the presentation of the International Astronautical Congress World Space Award. To assist the President in this, my pleasure to call forward the Vice President of the IAF. Round of applause, please, Dr. V.K. Rao.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. As Vice President of the IAF Bureau, in charge of honors and awards, it is my pleasure to say a few words about the IAF World Space Award. The IAF World Space Award is presented for an outstanding contribution in space science, space technology, space medicine, space law, or space management of exceptional impact to the world's progress in astronautics. IAF World Space Award so far in the past 5 years has been conferred on only 3 distinguished persons. The first recipient in the year 2013 was Dr. Edward Stone. The second recipient in 2016 was Dr. Yuri Koptev. And now, ladies and gentlemen, for the year 2017, the recipient is Major General Charles Bolden. So I request
Charlie oversaw the nation's space
President
program during a
IAF
challenging transition.
to honor him with the
Flagship
award.
space shuttle program to its ongoing journey to Mars. For more than 7 years, he led the agency through a remarkable transformation and toward its most amazing modern accomplishments. Technology continued to drive exploration under Charlie with advances in entry, descent, and landing, solar electric propulsion, and other capabilities we'll use for tomorrow's missions. And science never slept under Charlie's leadership.
The astronaut who will take the first human steps on Mars, and the scientist who will discover the next great breakthrough that makes that step possible might very well be sitting in a classroom.
Charlie's favorite planet is Earth, and he championed an unprecedented fleet of Earth observation satellites, including the orbiting Carbon Observatory and Landsat 8, as well as instruments aboard the space station that are helping us better understand our home. A noted pilot himself, Charlie brought new energy to an aeronautics program that continues to pioneer new air traffic management technologies, as well as promising work in green fuel, the next generation of supersonic flight, and morphing wings that adapt to conditions. Tomorrow's air and space pioneers have always looked to Charlie for example and encouragement. And perhaps his greatest legacy is the inspiration he has given countless students around the world to help encourage a new generation of explorers.
Thank you all very much. When I learned about this award, I was floored, to put it mildly. I cannot express my appreciation to the Federation for this recognition, but I really want to mention 3 people who are I won't say responsible for my being here, but who epitomize the type of people that drive one. The first is my wife, Jackie, who is, because we can't see out there, she's sitting somewhere on the second row. But she has sort of been the person that has swung on my arm for longer than I will tell you, because it will make her angry. But she has been the person who has shared in everything that I've done throughout my life, and for that I will be eternally grateful. The second person I thought about as I watched the opening ceremony, the beautiful young 11-year-old dancer, reminds me of my oldest granddaughter, McKaylee, who is back in the U.S. McKaylee, Kira, and Talia, my three granddaughters, happen to be dual citizens. Since their mom is from Sydney, and so they all share both Australian and U.S. citizenship. So they would be privileged and proud of us being here today. And the third person is Sergei Krikalev, who was my friend, my confidant, my colleague, and my crewmate when I flew my final space shuttle mission back in 1994. And it was probably without his knowing it, it was Sergei who completely changed my attitude about the critical importance of international cooperation and collaboration. And so I owe him a great debt of gratitude. He continues to work with Roscosmos and pushing science and exploration forward. Senator Birmingham, when you go back and see Matilda, tell her that she drives us. Hopefully she will, one of these days, actually get on a rocket ship and go to Mars or the moon or somewhere away from the planet. For the youth here, you inspire us. For the Space Generation Congress, who I missed your dinner Saturday night, but it is the work that you do that inspires all of us and makes us continually be motivated to make the world a better place. So thank you again for the recognition. I'm honored.
Thank you very much, President Legal, Vice President Rao, and congratulations, Major General Bolden, the third ever winner of the World Space Award. They were wonderful words, Major General. Thank you so much for them. Your three gorgeous granddaughters, who you noted were dual citizens of this country and the United States. Just a word of warning, if they choose not to go into space, but into politics in Australia, if they ever want to be Prime Minister, make sure they sorted that dual citizen thing. It's a little bit thornier than we thought it was, but anyway. If you want to hear more from the Major General, who's currently sitting there with no idea what I just referenced there, he will be on stage here Wednesday evening at the World Space Award Highlight Lecture. It will be one of the highlights of the entire Congress. Details of that and all the other things that are going on in the Congress are at IAC2017.org. IAC2017.org is the best way to keep on top of everything that's happening at this Congress. One more round of applause, please, for the winner of the World Space Award, Major General Charles Bolden. And keep that applause going as we welcome the Vice President General Manager, Lockheed Martin Space Systems Company, Lisa Callahan.
Well, thank you, and good morning, everyone. Wow, what a beautiful opening ceremony, and Charlie Bolden, congratulations, well deserved. It's a pleasure to be here in Australia for the 68th International Astronautical Congress. On behalf of the women and men of Lockheed Martin, we're proud to once again be the industry anchor sponsor for this gathering of distinguished leaders, delegates, and friends of space industry. As you can see around the room, we have people here that will set policy, design technology, and make scientific discoveries that propel us forward in space. It's an inspiring vantage point and a bit humbling as well, especially knowing the years of planning and work that have gone into making this event. I'm excited to be here in Adelaide for many reasons. Part of the excitement is to continue our Lockheed Martin story of innovation and progress in space. From our recent groundbreaking of the world's largest satellite manufacturing facility, to the introduction of a full catalog of satellite solutions that meet the needs from large to small. We never slow our pace. And while we're thoughtful in our design and execution, we hold human safety above all else, and our goals are bold. That's why we're committed to building NASA's Orion to transport humans safely to deep space. A program that is thoughtfully mapped to NASA's vision for a lunar deep space gateway and for Lockheed Martin's concept of an orbiting Mars base camp. Orion is a cornerstone of tomorrow's exploration goals, and it serves as the spacecraft that will safely transport astronauts and scientists to the Moon and Mars. Farther into space than ever before aboard the world's largest rocket. And frankly, it sounds pretty amazing to me. I'd like to talk for a moment about the importance of having this conference in Adelaide, in Australia, a country that is increasingly making space a priority, as with the recent announcement about the space agency today. As a nation of pioneers, the spirit of Australians is welcomed in the space industry. With nearly 11,000 people in this country working in the space sector, a number of those holding jobs at Lockheed Martin, we see Australia's review and aligning the space capability as very exciting. Being able to contribute to this conversation is an honor for us. We've been operating here for more than 20 years, partnering with local companies to make improvements in key areas, including space situational awareness. We're also pleased to be inspiring the next generation of space explorers through our Generation Beyond curriculum, which helps to build STEM skills that will be needed to pursue careers in space. I want to thank you for listening and for your attendance. We're excited to be a part of this year's Congress. Thank you.
Well, thank you so much, Lisa. It's amazing, isn't it, to think we've all just heard about serious plans to orbit a base camp around Mars, even by the standards of 2017. That is amazing. Please, another round of applause. Thank you, Lisa, for those words. Now, during our proceedings, we've been joined by some very talented young people sitting here before me, developing and honing skills and training in mathematics, creativity, perseverance, intellectual rigour, teamwork, strength and fitness. It turns out that along with dreams and imagination, being an elite musician has a lot in common with being an astronaut. So please a big round of applause for the Adelaide Youth Orchestra, who are going to play for us very shortly. Lovely to have you here, guys. But just before they do, we're going to pause for a moment and reflect upon the fact that 2017 is a year in which there's much to remember and celebrate in the astronautical industry. As Lisa Callahan just mentioned, we are indeed a nation of space pioneers, and in this year we celebrate the 70th anniversary of the Woomera Test Range, first established in 1947, a complex in northwestern South Australia, globally unique testing range. 122,188 square kilometres, it's the largest land-based testing range in the world. Now, for those who don't know, maybe some of our international guests, the word Woomera is an Indigenous word of the Darug language of the Ora people of the Sydney Basin. A Woomera is a wood spear throwing device. Well, during the 50s and 60s, the Woomera complex was the second busiest rocket range in the world, next to Cape Canaveral in the US. During the early 1960s, the Woomera range participated in the Mercury and Gemini space programs. Specialised tracking and communication stations were set up at Red Lake, about 30 miles, 50 kilometres from here, north of Woomera, and at Mirracata, about 120 miles, 200 kilometres west of Woomera. These stations also played an important part in the first moon landing mission. And in 2016, the federal government of Australia announced that Woomera would undergo a $50 million upgrade, ensuring this 70-year-old facility continues to be one of the world's most technologically advanced land-based testing and research facilities. And just 10 years after the Woomera testing range was established, a little further afield from here, the Soviet Union sent Sputnik 1 into an elliptical low Earth orbit. The date was the 4th of October 1957. And this was the first artificial satellite to leave Earth. At just 58 centimetres in diameter, with 4 external radio antennae, Sputnik 1 was a modest but miraculous polished metal dome that triggered the space race. In 2017, we celebrate the 60th anniversary of that amazing milestone event. And a decade and 6 days after Sputnik kicked things off, the Outer Space Treaty was signed and officially entered into force on the 10th of October 1967. The treaty represents the basic legal framework of international space law. Among its principles, it bars states party to the treaty from placing weapons of mass destruction in orbit of Earth, installing them on the Moon or any other celestial body, or otherwise stationing them in outer space. It exclusively limits the use of the Moon and other celestial bodies to peaceful purposes, and expressly prohibits their use for testing weapons of any kind, conducting military manoeuvres, or establishing military bases, installations, fortifications. As of July 2017, 107 parties to the treaty and another 23 countries are on the verge of ratification. And on November 29, 1967, just 50 days after the treaty was signed back in Woomera, as the Premier and Minister, both very proud South Australians, have reminded us, Australia launched the Weapons Research Establishment Satellite, or RESAT. The launch made Australia the 7th nation to have an Earth satellite launched and just the 3rd nation to launch one from its own territory, after the Soviet Union and the United States. RESAT circled the Earth on a nearly polar course until 42 days after launch it re-entered the atmosphere, having completed 642 revolutions. We're honoured to have with us the international astronautical community in Australia to celebrate these remarkable anniversaries and achievements. Achievements that remind us how far we've come in the past 70 years and what an important role Australia has played and continues to play in space exploration. And so on this auspicious day in 2017, 50 years after RESAT, 60 years after Sputnik, and in Woomera's 70th year, it's my pleasure to call to the stage the Chair of the Space Industry Association of Australia, Mr. Michael Davis.
Premier Weatherall, Minister Birmingham, who unfortunately had to catch a flight, Lord Mayor Hazy, distinguished guests and colleagues, ladies and gentlemen. Let me start by congratulating the producer of this fantastic opening ceremony, Mr. Andy Packer, and all his cast and crew. It's my honour and privilege to welcome you as representatives of the world space community to Australia and to this Congress. Many of you travelled long distances to join us today. Over the past 25 years, our Space Industry Association has also travelled a long distance, but today we celebrate two wonderful achievements: the hosting of the world's most important annual meeting of the international space community and Australia's decision to participate as an equal member of that community. As is evidenced by the Commonwealth Government's announcement of a national space agency, the planning for this Congress has coincided with a renewed enthusiasm in this country for the potential that space development offers for the future of our nation. The social and economic benefits of space, as well as the quest to explore and learn, are more than ever within our reach. Our decision to host this Congress was a bold one, and we have been rewarded in one giant leap today, which advances our vision for a mature space industry sector in Australia, underpinned by world-class research and development, translating into high technology innovation, powered by a skilled space-educated workforce, and providing a level of national sovereignty and self-reliance to assist our nation to meet our national needs and profit from emerging commercial opportunities. Thank you to our wonderful Congress organising team, led by my friend and colleague, Mr. Brett Biddington. Thank you to all our sponsors and supporters. Thank you to the Commonwealth Government, the Government of South Australia, and to you, Mr. Premier, for your support right from the beginning, as you've already described. Thank you to the CSIRO, the City of Adelaide, the Adelaide Convention Bureau, and the Adelaide Convention Centre. A special thank you to our anchor sponsor, Lockheed Martin, without whose support it would not have been possible for our association to host this Congress. We hope you enjoy your time with us and that you will join your Australian friends in a moment of celebration before we burn our engines and continue our journey on an altered trajectory. I now call upon the President of the International Astronautical Federation, Dr. Jean-Yves Le Gall, the President of the International Academy of Astronautics, Professor Peter Jankovic, and the President of the International Institute of Space Law, Dr. Kai Ewer Scrogel, to join me on stage to open the Congress. Please. So, together, we hereby declare the 68th International Astronautical Congress open!
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Michael. Please a round of applause for that, ladies and gentlemen. We are officially launched. As our dignitaries make their way back to the seat, I will note as Andy Thomas, Charles Bolden, Paul Scully-Power, and many of you here know that even though you're launched, the real fun starts now. So to close this, the first official component of the 68th International Astronautical Congress, we are pleased to present a performance by the 83-piece Adelaide Youth Orchestra, joined on stage by a further 40 young performers. Here is the Adelaide Youth Orchestra to perform Gustav Holst's Jupiter, the Bringer of Jollity. Have a fantastic Congress. Bye-bye.
Sometimes when this place is striking empty, sound of their breath fades with light. I think about this loveless fascination under the Milky Way tonight. Lower the curtains down in Memphis. Lower the curtains down, alright. Got no time you.